Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. Apple just made their most expensive iPhone feel cheaper, and that might be the smartest move they've made in years. Today, we're diving into the controversial iPhone 17 Pro, exploring why Apple abandoned premium titanium for aluminum and what it means for your next upgrade.
Yeah, it's fascinating how this seemingly backward step, going from premium titanium to aluminum, is actually a huge leap forward in terms of practical benefits.
Let's start with the basics. What exactly changed with this new design?
Well, the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max now feature an aluminum unibody design, replacing the titanium frame from the last two generations. But here's what's interesting. They've added this distinctive plateau across the back.
Wait, you mean that shelf-like thing on the back? What's that about?
It's actually brilliant engineering. That plateau houses critical components and, more importantly, incorporates a vapor chamber cooling system. Finally, we can put an iPhone on a table without it wobbling every time we touch it.
Oh my gosh, yes. That wobble was so annoying. But let's talk about this aluminum switch. Isn't that a downgrade from titanium?
That's what's so fascinating. It's actually an upgrade in terms of practical benefits. Aluminum conducts heat much better than titanium, which is crucial for the new A19 Pro chip's performance.
So it's all about keeping things cool?
Exactly. According to test results, the iPhone 17 Pro maintained about 72% of its peak performance after a 20-minute stress test. That's significantly better than competitors.
And what about the colors? I noticed they look different this year.
Yeah, we've got these gorgeous new deep blue and cosmic orange options. The aluminum actually allows for more vibrant finishes than titanium did.
But titanium isn't completely gone from Apple's lineup, right?
No, and this is really clever. They've reserved titanium for the new iPhone Air, which needs that material's rigidity because it's incredibly thin at just 5.6 millimeters.
Let's talk about what's powering this thing, the A19 Pro chip. What are we seeing in terms of performance?
The benchmarks are impressive. The A19 Pro is showing about a 40% improvement in GPU performance over last year's model, with significant gains in ray tracing capabilities.
That's a huge jump, but how does it compare to the competition?
Well, Qualcomm and MediaTek have actually closed the gap considerably. Their latest chips can trade blows with Apple in pure GPU performance.
Interesting. And what about battery life? That's always a huge concern.
The results are pretty impressive. In standardized tests, the iPhone 17 Pro lasted 15 hours and 32 minutes, which is a significant improvement over the 16 Pro's 14 hours and 7 minutes.
That's better, but how does it stack up against other flagships?
Well, Samsung's still ahead. The Galaxy S25 Plus manages almost 17 hours. But the real surprise is OnePlus, with their latest phone hitting almost 20 hours of battery life.
20 hours? That's incredible.
Yeah, though it's worth noting they're using a much larger battery, 6,000 mAh compared to the iPhone's 4,252 mAh.
Let's talk about the camera system. Any major changes there?
The main upgrade is in the telephoto lens, which is now 48 megapixels with 4x optical zoom. It can actually deliver what Apple calls optical quality 8x zoom.
And what exactly does optical quality mean?
It means they're using the center crop of that high-resolution sensor to maintain detail at 8x zoom while keeping incredibly steady framing.
So who would benefit most from that feature?
It's perfect for shooting sports, concerts, wildlife, or architectural details. Basically any situation where you need to get closer without physically moving.
Let's circle back to this vapor chamber cooling. How exactly does it work?
It's pretty clever. They use deionized water inside a sealed chamber that's laser welded into the chassis. As the phone heats up, the water absorbs that heat and spreads it through the aluminum frame.
Water inside the phone? That sounds risky.
Don't worry, it's completely sealed and has been extensively tested. Plus, the phone still maintains its IP68 water resistance rating.
Speaking of durability, what about the screen?
They've introduced Ceramic Shield 2, which offers 3 times better scratch resistance and has a new anti-reflective coating. The back glass is now Ceramic Shield 2, with 4 times better crack resistance.
That's a significant upgrade. How's the display itself?
The Pro Max now has a 6.9-inch screen with 2868 by 1320 resolution, and it can hit an impressive 3,000 nits peak brightness outdoors.
3,000 nits? Is that really necessary?
It actually makes a huge difference for outdoor visibility, especially when you're trying to check your phone in bright sunlight or take photos.
Let's talk price. What are we looking at for these new models?
The iPhone 17 Pro starts at $1199 for 256 gigabyte and goes all the way up to $1999 for the new 2 terabyte Pro Max model.
$2,000 for a phone? That's a lot.
It is, but remember, you're getting double the storage of last year's top model, plus all these new features and improvements.
So who should actually upgrade to the 17 Pro?
If you're coming from an iPhone 15 Pro or earlier, you'll see massive improvements in performance, battery life, and camera capabilities.
And what about iPhone 16 Pro users?
That's a tougher call. The improvements are real, but they're more incremental. Unless you really need the better thermal performance or improved zoom, you might want to wait.
What about the competition? How does it stack up against the latest Android flagships?
It's really neck and neck now. Samsung and Google have closed the performance gap significantly, and in some areas like battery life, they're actually ahead.
That's quite different from a few years ago.
Yeah, the smartphone market has become incredibly competitive. Apple can't just rely on raw performance advantages anymore. They need to innovate in other ways.
Like switching from titanium to aluminum?
Exactly. It shows they're focusing more on practical benefits than just premium materials and marketing buzz.
What about environmental impact? That's becoming increasingly important.
The aluminum actually has a smaller carbon footprint than titanium, especially when processed through Apple's low-carbon smelting partnerships. It's also easier to recycle at scale.
So it's a win for sustainability too.
Right. It aligns perfectly with Apple's goal to be carbon neutral by 2030.
Let's wrap this up. What's the bottom line on the iPhone 17 Pro?
It's a more practical flagship that prioritizes real-world performance over premium materials. The improved cooling, better battery life, and camera upgrades make it a solid choice for power users.
But maybe not an essential upgrade for everyone.
Exactly. If you're on an older iPhone and want the best Apple has to offer, go for it. But if you've got last year's Pro, you might want to wait for next year's model.
You know what's funny? We started this episode thinking aluminum was a downgrade, but it turns out it's actually the smarter choice.
Sometimes the best innovations aren't about adding premium features, they're about solving real problems in clever ways.
And that wraps up today's episode of Copilot Podcasts. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the iPhone 17 Pro. Remember, sometimes what looks like a step backward is actually a leap forward.